When my kids were young, they always liked it if I told a scary story when they went to bed. Well, here's one I never told them. It's called The Three Pigs Fall into the Death Spiral. Once upon a time, there was a company named Three Pigs. They were a call center with thousands of operators fielding questions from customers of their corporate clients. For a while, times were good for Three Pigs. They had lots of business and they invested in a lot of capacity. Office buildings, computers, supervisors, middle management. But one dark and stormy year, a bad economy caused some of their clients to find cheaper alternatives, and Three Pigs lost some business volume. That was followed by some unfavorable stories in the press. The tough times made Three Pigs take a closer look at the margins they were getting from each of their clients. For each one, they asked, "Are we really bringing in enough revenue to justify keeping this client?" To estimate the cost of serving a client, Three Pigs first measured the hours of operator time the client needed. Three Pigs paid their operators about $8 an hour, but that was only the beginning. Three Pigs used operator hours as their overhead driver. So they added up all the overhead they expected for the year and divided it by the total number of operator hours. With $1 million in overhead and 100,000 operator hours, they came up with an overhead rate of $10 per hour. So in the end, every operator hour cost $18, the $8 paid to the operator, and the $10 that covered the $1 million of buildings and computers and supervisors and other overhead. Now, Three Pigs had a number of clients, but there was only one that was losing money. Their name was Bad Wolf. Bad Wolf was a big company, and they weren't afraid to ask for the best prices. Over the years, Bad Wolf had wheedled the price down to $17.50 per hour. That's less than the $18 an hour Three Pigs accounting system said it cost to serve them. To make matters worse, Bad Wolf's vice president of logistics called Three Pigs up and said, "Times are tough, and we have other options. If you don't lower your price to $16 an hour, we're going to walk." Well, what did Three Pigs do? They looked at the cost for that client, which came to $18 an operator hour, and they looked at the measly revenue they would get, only $16, and they said, "Times are tough for us, too. We can't afford to lose $2 on every hour we work for you." So Three Pigs let Bad Wolf walk away. It seemed like the right decision at the time. But then it came time to calculate the new overhead rates. Now, Bad Wolf was gone, so Three Pigs' total overhead should have been lower, but it hardly dropped at all. Remember, most of their overhead was the fixed cost of capacity. They didn't sell off a building or lease fewer computers or lay off a single supervisor. Bad Wolf wasn't that big of a client. So overhead dropped from $1 million to $990,000. But remember, Three Pigs' overhead rate was a ratio. They divided total overhead by the number of operator hours they expected. And now that Bad Wolf was gone, instead of expecting 100,000 hours, they expected only 90,000. So their overhead rate, which used to be $10 an hour, rose to $11 an hour, $990,000 of overhead over 90,000 operator hours. So now the cost of an operator hour rose to $19. The $8 paid to the operator plus the $11 needed to cover all that overhead. Three Pigs had to take another look at all of their clients, and what they saw was not pretty. With Bad Wolf gone, all of the other clients had to bear the cost of the fixed overhead that Bad Wolf was no longer there to take on. And there were a lot of clients paying only about $18.50 an hour. And of course, you know what Three Pigs did. They told those clients to walk as well. "We can't afford to keep you if you won't cover your costs," Three Pigs said. And when those clients walked, Three Pigs still had almost the same amount of overhead before, because remember, almost all of it was fixed. But they spread that overhead over a smaller and smaller activity base, and overhead rates rose and rose and rose and rose, and more clients looked like they were money losers, and Three Pigs told them to walk and walk and walk and walk, and in the end, Three Pigs only had one client left. She was being charged $5,000 per operator hour because she was the only one left to cover all of those fixed overhead costs that didn't walk away when their clients did. But she didn't walk away because she was Three Pigs' mom, and she loved Three Pigs very much. Well, that's the ending I would have told to my kids, but you're grown-ups. So let me tell you the scary truth. This is not just a story. This type of death spiral is very real. You see it in companies big and small. And in the end, even Three Pigs' mom will leave if Three Pigs' prices rise too much.